How you doing, Anthony? Jonathan Ramlicon, Five Reasons Sports. Last season obviously didn't go the way you wanted it to, but there's still some things you could take away coming into this one. What do you feel like you can use to learn coming into this season coming up?
Man, I learned a lot from last season. Honestly, this is the hardest form of combat sports there is, having to go from fight to fight to fight, only having 8 weeks. And no matter what happens in the first fight, you got to be ready for that second fight. So the first season, no, I definitely underestimated what I was getting myself into. Even the talent, I would say I underestimated the talent they had over here. Clay Collard, showed me that the talent over here is real. Haush, Montefiore, especially him as well. So I think I took away a lot from that first season, man. And I had to start the training camp a lot earlier this year. I was in camp since the beginning of January, so it's been a long training camp. But in this format of a season, the bulk of the training has to be done, while you're healthy and while you can train.
Right now, style-wise, adjusting to this season format, do you have to adjust the way that you kind of come out in fights, or is it the same thing coming out every single fight?
No, I definitely got to adjust. I mean, the first PFL fight, I walked into the cage and the floor was different. It was a vinyl surface opposed to canvas, so I had to adjust, with my kicks. Like the first fight, I was slipping every time I threw a kick. I think they adjusted the second fight. So like there was this stuff that I've never even thought about since, my amateur days, in the cage. And also like the injuries, like me and Clay had a war, he bought it. And, I had leg injuries from the kicks, and whatever else happened in the fight. You had to heal up really quick. So yeah, I think the style, the game plan, and just the adjustments that I've found out from last year, I think should show this year.
Now, what do you feel the biggest factor for you getting redemption this season is going to be?
I mean, that's just it. Redemption and legacy, man. Like, I think I fought the two toughest dudes in my division, Clay and Haush. I mean, they showed it in PFL 1. Haush with 4 points, Clay beating Jeremy Stevens the way he did. They're talented dudes. But I think, I like I said, I fought the best two right away. So I know what to expect. I know what the skill level is. And now I have a better idea on, like, what the format is all about.
Appreciate your time, my man. Good luck this season.
Thanks, bro.
Lorenzo.
Hey, Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time for us here. What can you tell us about starting off fresh in the PFL this season? How does it differ for your mindset knowing that everyone's starting from scratch, so to say?
I mean, it's awesome to have a season format. And I've never been part of a season format, like UFC, WEC, even the earlier days, you kind of just had to be ready for a fight whenever it happened. The opportunity would pop up, jump into camp, do the weight cut. This format, I really had some time off this time. I got time to real time off too. When I say real time off, it's like not having a phone call and maybe having to do a fight, in 5 weeks or whatever the case may be. This time I had time off to actually like just be Anthony Pettis, the not the fighter, just to enjoy my time with my daughter, my family. And I think I needed that, man. It was like a reset on everything, and it made me motivated to get back to training. And I also changed a lot of stuff in my training camps. I instead of doing my camp in Milwaukee, I did full camp in Las Vegas. I flew my coaches out to me. I full time with my boxing coach, Jorge Capetillo. Big time help with my boxing. I think last season made me a better fighter. I mean, even though I lost to Clay and Haush, I gotta thank them guys for making me a better fighter.
I hear that. You mentioned your team back in Milwaukee. I do want to ask you about one of your teammates back there, Bilal Muhammad. That man's on a hell of a run right now, man. How does that motivate you as a teammate, to know that your home gym is housing these guys that just love to go out there and just grind, man?
Man, if you just look at the people that we train with in Milwaukee, I mean, from Rose Namajunas, I can't even say her last name, but from Rose to Sergio Pettis to Bilal, I mean, Eric Koch, we had just killers in our gym. So we had a lot of good guys on our mat. And I think that's what made us all so good. Rafian Stotts with the win, the Bellator win championship. So our mats in Milwaukee was just ridiculously filled with talent. And looking back and seeing it, I'm like, man, I saw all these guys progress. I seen Bilal progress. I seen him get to the spot he's at now. And Bilal's probably one of the hardest working guys I know, man. Like, he does that during Ramadan. He's not drinking water, not eating food, busting his ass in the gym, and then, doing what he's doing in fights. It's amazing.
And just touching on that also, do you think there's something to say for maybe Not that there's anything better or worse for either one, but that there's something to be said about training in the Midwest, like Milwaukee, maybe compared to a bigger city on the East Coast or on the West Coast. Is there something that goes into you guys' mentality since you're so far away from the noise, really? There's still social media and stuff like that, but does being away from Vegas and the West Coast add to some of the grind that you guys go for in Milwaukee?
I didn't do my training camp in Milwaukee this time, but I think, when coming up and coming, yeah, we didn't have the distractions, like Rufus Sport was just kind of a gym that just happened, myself, my little brother, Pat Berry days. I mean, we had some killers at our gym. But yeah, I think it's kind of both ways, because it's a small city. So once you start knowing the people and you start knowing the crowds, it's very easy to get distracted and getting into that thing. But yeah, I think, wintertime in Milwaukee is definitely makes people tough.
For sure. I appreciate it, Anthony. Thanks so much. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, bro.
All right, Ken.
I should be working this time. Anthony, thanks very much for taking the time out. Ken McGuire, KCLR Irish Radio. A couple of quick questions for you this evening. You said last season that you fought the two toughest dudes in the division. You go up against a bit of an unknown on Friday night. We spoke to Miles earlier. While it's infinitely easier for him to access tape and background on yourself, we can't say the same really about Miles. How do you prepare for somebody like him, or does the opponent even matter at this stage?
Yeah, it definitely matters. I mean, the styles make fights. I definitely, my coaches dissected the footage we couldn't find. All week we were just texting each other videos back and forth of like fights that we found online and his last fight. But not having video footage of his last 3 years, I don't know what's coming. I know how he used to fight. I don't know how he's gonna fight. So I just prepared for everything. I did a long training camp. We started double the amount of time. Last season, I think I took it like an 8-week camp because usually I do 2-month camps. And it just wasn't enough because after that first fight, I had to take some time to heal off. And then boom, I was right back into the bubble before camp even happened. Last year, we had to be in the bubble for like 17 days, 20 days before the fight. So a lot of the camp happened in the bubble. Where this time, I was at home, I'm doing the things that I'm used to doing, like just all the extra stuff that matters in the training camps, having access to my coaches, having access to training partners. So I would say the mindset going into this, fighting a guy who's kind of unknown, is just be ready for anything. He's actually a well-rounded fighter. When I watch his tape, he has good striking. He's tough. He's from Ireland, so he's real tough. And his jiu-jitsu is actually pretty good too. So I'm not underestimating anybody this season.
And lastly, Anthony, Julia made a little reference a few minutes ago saying that if you're not mentally sound, I might be paraphrasing, if you're not mentally sound before you're in the cage, you're broken. You've just thanked last year's opponent as well for making you a better fighter. You've mentioned mindset. Where is your head at going into Friday, and how do you see the season playing out for you?
Man, last season I was very confident. This season I'm even more confident because of the work I put in. Jorge Capetillo, I can't thank him enough, man. A coach of mine that just really made me get back to the grind. I was running every morning, doing the mountains, doing the things that MMA fighters don't like doing. And it shows, my body's looking amazing. I'm 5 pounds overweight. I have energy. I feel good. And the mindset's just confident. Like this season, I'm really looking for redemption and legacy. If I get a third world title, it's something that not a lot of most MMA fighters can't say.
Super. Thank you so much, sir. All the best for Friday.
Thank you.
Trevor.
Hey, Anthony, Trevor Ritchie with the HITP Network, and you just touched on it there for a second about legacy, and I was going to ask you, I'm sure you've thought about it a good bit, right? So, how much do you think a successful championship season in the PFL would add to your legacy?
Obviously it would be huge, like winning the WC title out the way I did, the UFC title the way I did, and now I'm in line to win another world title this year. I'm kind of pissed off at myself for not taking it serious as I should have as last year, so that's kind of the motivation going into this. I didn't blame anybody else but myself. I took all blame. I could point fingers. I could say, this happened, this happened. Like I really took responsibility for how my performance was last season. And I took it personal. So yeah, I think, legacy and redemption is huge. Legacy, obviously, I've done so much in this sport. Covered with Wheaties box to, the UFC WC world titles, jumping off the cage, like a lot of stuff in the sport, but I'm not done yet. I'm still motivated to be in here, and I'm having fun with it. And I think I just put that up on my Instagram not too long ago. Like when I'm done having fun with it, I'll be done with it. And that's the truth. Like when I stop learning and I stop progressing as a fighter, then that's when it's time to call it quits.
And just how aware were you of some of the criticism that came after, the way that last season went? Did any of it, rub you the wrong way at all? Or maybe even did any of it resonate with you and help motivate you in a sense?
Yeah, I think I'm my biggest critic. I think when I go into these fights, my coaches have other fighters. PFL has other fighters. The world has other fighters to watch. But me, I'm stuck with my result. And it was a different feeling because I didn't have a chance to like jump and book back into another fight and try to redeem myself. In previous organizations, it was pretty easy to do that. And now it was like, I had to sit this time out. I had to sit on the sidelines and just be with what I did. I had to really just accept it, accept what happened last season. I didn't do horrible last season, but it just wasn't the best version of myself. Like even the Haush fight, I thought it was a very close split decision. And Collar, he just came out. I just didn't expect that one. So I'm looking forward to seeing both of them guys this year.
And is there any news on the next Anthony Pettis FC card?
Oh, yeah. So we took a break just for a little bit. But, thank you for calling it Anthony Pettis FC. We can't call it Showtime no more because of the network for now. But, so we're going to come back to Milwaukee in August. We have another show in September and then back to Milwaukee in November.
Thanks, Anthony. Best of luck. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, bro.
Dylan.
Hey there, Anthony. I appreciate you making some time.
I ain't got nothing else to do, bro.
Let's go. But I got a question to ask you in the context of lessons learned from the last season. So I was seeing an article where you were talking about like, I tried to really be Showtime out there and it kind of showed in the fights. But is that like a learning kind of takeaway? Like did almost the, high point allocation for like the finish, did that almost affect your fight methodology? And to that point, is that something you've learned to pull back with this season?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think going into last season, I was under the pressure. I was like a new organization, the big name on the card. I was like, I had to be Showtime, and I bought into that too much. And I think just the time away from my training camp and that bubble just like allowed me to be with myself, and I just like fed into that beast of like, I'm gonna jump off the cage and knock this guy out. And obviously that didn't happen. So I think this time around, I understand what I need to do. I understand like building up to the big moments. If you look at my career, like even the Ben Henderson fight, when I did the Showtime kick, it was 4 solid rounds of great basics that led to one solid moment that, changed the game. So I think, I attached back to that. I went back, watched my old fights, watched some, other fighters that I see how they're fighting and like love Canelo Alvarez, the way he builds up his, defense. From Michael Venom Page. There's so many guys I looked at and watched. A little bit of Sergio Pettis. Another guy that's clean with the basics, and then boom, one solid moment happens, and that's kind of what Showtime really is. It's not me just trying to make it happen.
Yeah, and it's curious you mentioned Sergio there. That kind of segues into my next question. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't get the backstory on this because I saw Sergio had a tweet where he was saying my first ever phone interview for the UFC. I let Anthony do it for me. Seemed like you were a little intoxicated. What was the backstory on that?
Yeah. We were at a UFC. It was International Fight Week. So Sergio, it was his first fight week. He just got signed with the UFC. We were just having fun, man, just hanging out, in Vegas. 2 brothers, and he had his first phone interview. I was like, and I just grabbed his phone. I'm like, let me do the phone interview for you. And he let me do it, and then I just had some fun with it. I was talking mad shit.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for the insights.
Yeah.
Harry Mack.
Hey, Anthony, Harry Mack from the Bookie's Basement. I hope you're doing well. So last year we had talked about, you brought your protege, Christian Rodriguez, into the bubble with you. He was a big part of your training camp. And since then, he's been signed to the UFC. I know he's out there with you on the West Coast now. But how does it feel like for you as, kind of one of the OGs in this game at this point to kind of see the guys that you've kind of taught and brought up and brought along in their journeys kind of really starting to make those big achievements in their careers?
Yeah, it's crazy to see, honestly, man, because I remember Christian as just a little guy before he was in high school, like just looking up to us and watching us, in all outside of the cage. And now using him as a sparring partner for last season, seeing what he's doing. It's a crazy life, honestly. Mixed martial arts is one of them things that anything can happen. And whenever anybody like commits to it, I like to give them all the advice I can because I've been through it all. I've been to the highest highs, the lowest lows. I've been on a 4-fight losing streak, an 8-fight win streak, wheeze box. So I've been everywhere with this sport. So guys like him, I just try to like even Rafion Stotts, like seeing Rafion Stotts get to that world title. I remember having a conversation with Rafion probably last year, saying, man, or maybe a year and a half before he got to the Bellator, I was like, when it happens, it's gonna happen quick. And he's already interim champ for Bellator in line to win $1 million. So yeah, it's awesome, man. Like I love to see these guys progress and commit to themselves to the sport.
Gotcha. So, yeah, would you say you really kind of relish that like mentor role?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do it well, actually. My first transition into mixed martial arts was because I was an instructor. I opened my first Taekwondo gym up with my older brother, like 15 years old, and we saw how popular MMA was getting, and that's kind of why I got into MMA. I was like, yo, if we're going to succeed in the gym business, we got to teach our students jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and boxing. And then I fell in love with the actual sport, and I still teach it as well. I still have my Taekwondo gyms. So yeah, I'm definitely mentoring fighters, and not only just normal martial artists. I see kids transition from being shy and scared to like standing like a black belt and doing their forms legit. So yeah, I love that.
Gotcha. And a buddy of mine was actually at that NAFC card a couple of weeks ago out in Wisconsin and told me that I need to take a look at Angelo Pettis. So what's the scouting report on the newest Pettis brother, cousin on the scene?
Yeah, cousin, man. He's the younger generation. He's a killer too as well. I mean, he's kind of similar to my life. His dad's father was killed in a house robbery, just like my father was in Milwaukee. So he kind of lived the same lifestyle I lived. He had a chance to make some excuses or dedicate himself to martial arts, and his father, seeing their bond is awesome. He's my older cousin, Angelo Pettis. They're both Angelo Pettis. But to see his progression as well, man, it's just amazing to see. Like we have something special at Rufus Sport. When Duke gets behind his fighters and the teams behind him, we create some monsters, and he's definitely the next line to step up.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for your time, Anthony, and I can't wait to see you back in there. Best of luck this season.
Thanks.
Mills. I can't hear you, Mills. Sorry about that.
How's it going?
All right, there we go.
What's up, bro?
Oh, good, man. This is MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio. I just had to take that second real quick to put my chain on, man. I had to match you up real quick. I had to put the gold on.
Yeah, I can't even see it. Is it good? You good? Tony, how's it look? Oh, she said it's small. What happened, man? No, it's like
I didn't see it, Mills. All right.
Look, check me out. I'm official.
Let's go.
It's all right.
All right. So, no, I just wanted to say, man, I mean, coming out of Rufus Sport, man, you got definitely one of the better coaches out of there, and if it has to feel good, like you were just talking about Rufian Stotts. I was just wrapping it up with him a minute ago, to come out of there, to see your little brother grab gold, to see, everybody from your gym pretty much flourishing right now, has to give you some stripes, right?
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, I think like I was one of the pioneers to show these guys the route to them gold belts, and I had two of them before I think the gym even got another champion. I mean, we had Ben Askren. I mean, we had a lot of champions in our gym that we were training with, and to see the next generation grab the gold too just shows how high level that training room was.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like you said, you're always going to be around the sport, Taekwondo. I remember you said previously, too, you're probably going to be fighting, the rest of your life. That's just what you do. That's what real fighters do. One thing, though, I noticed, certain fights that you come into, sometimes, your coach is saying you're in the best shape ever. And, he's seen you getting back mad, how you used to be and stuff like that. I love it when I hear it. And then sometimes you come out there, put on the real show that we love to see in the first round. And then as the fight goes, sometimes it seems like we don't get that same performance that we get. I'm thinking that now everything's turning around 2022. How do you feel when you go into that cage? Are you ready to put on a show, or right now are you just ready to get this win and go for this millie?
Both, man. I mean, I'm always going to put on a show. I think what I attached to was trying to put on too much of a show, going for the power moves, cartwheel kicks. Like the first fight, man, I was doing cartwheel kicks when I should have been defending myself and using my basics to find the range. Yeah, MMA is a crazy sport, bro. Like anything can happen. Styles make fights. What happens outside of training camp matters. There's a lot of stuff that goes into these training camps that the fans don't get to see, that the average person don't get to see. I think I found the right recipe. My outside life is awesome. My life, outside of fighting is just lining up the right way where it's not stressful. It's not there's not things pulling me away from the training. Now I can focus in on just the training. And yeah, Duke's always, his job is to hype me up, man. His job is to make sure that I'm feeling myself and fully confident. And when he says I'm in the better shape, I believe it. So he said it again. So hopefully we're good.
Got you, man. One more thing, man. I'm always searching your Instagram and stuff, man. I'm talking about power couple, man. You and your wife and you and your brother. I mean, you guys just live the life, man. It seems like on Instagram, you enjoy the fruits of the labor. You worked hard enough for it, man. Always in the newest Jordan 1s and always supporting your team, too. That's what I love about it. When your fighters fight, you're actually one of the fighters that bet and gamble on all you guys from Rufus Sport. It doesn't matter what tier they are on the list. That really got to show the support, right?
Man, I'm a bag chaser, bro. So I know, like the talent level at Rufus Sport is ridiculous. Like, so even Rajan Stas was the underdog. And I think that's what you're referring to when I went on him. Oh man, I went on Gerald so many times. There's so many guys that I know their skill level, and if they can perform to their skill level, not many people could beat them. So yeah, I definitely cash in on my teammates a lot. And yeah, I mean, we worked hard to be where I'm at, man. Like Sergio's seeing him buy his first house, getting engaged this year. Unfortunately, he tore his knee, but like he had a huge year, man, and that makes me proud, bro. Like that I had something to do with that I even like put him in that right direction.
Got it, man. Looking forward to your fights, man.
Thank you, bro.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, thanks very much. And Anthony, thanks for the time today. Just one quick one. I mean, obviously the rest of the lightweight field went a couple of weeks ago and you're held back to this card. Watching them, and especially watching that Clay Collard, Jeremy Stephens fight, what was your reaction, and did it kind of amp you up to get back in here?
I made money on Clay Collard. I knew how that fight was going to go. I felt Clay's rhythm, his pace, he wants to win, man. So I knew how that fight was going to go, and Haoush too. I think we all saw some holes in Haoush's game, like that high output kickboxing style he has a hard time dealing with. But Don Mage got lazy for 1 second and boom, lights out. So he showed why he's the champion last year. So I think I mean, knowing their skill level and knowing how I did it against them last year, it helps me and it motivates me to go handle business Friday night.
And just a quick follow-up. I mean, obviously every fighter wants to get their losses back. Given those two names are both in the field again, is there one or other that you would prefer, that it would mean more to get that loss back from?
I want them both. I mean, that's the only two fights I'm thinking about after this one. I think both of them guys is the guys that I need to fight next. Either one they want to give me, doesn't matter.